Ladies and gentlemen, welcome chat room. Hello. How are you? Are you doing the good? Are you having the fun? I'm hoping that this is the case. And we have, let me know if you voted or if you're going to vote, if you plan to vote. Like if you give me the date, you can go day of, that's fine. You can throw that in there as well. That's right. Why did they want Biden-Harris? Why did they want Biden-Harris? You mean why they want Biden out? They didn't. It was a direct reaction to what they believed was his physical state in regard to the debate where I believe he was hit with the Havana ray. But we'll talk about that in another time too. That's for a congressional hearing in a year and a half. So yeah, there we go. Oh, there you go. Yep. There you go. Voted over a week ago, received and counted. Excellent. I went in. Here, I'll show you something. I think this is fun. The process. I was talking with Summer today about the process to go in and vote. And it's really, really fascinating. Let's see if I can. How would let's see what's the easiest way to, I know what I can do. I'll put this in my Notion and fly it in that sort of thing. Yeah, something like that. How do we do? This is the problem with having, there we go. The problem with having, where should we put it? Add content to that. Put it in there. That'll be the, save. I'm going to throw a video in this. Let's see if it works or how long it takes. Should do it okay. There we go. Hold on. Let's see. Do we pop it out? Picture in picture. Yeah, here we go. All right. I'll stretch this thing out so you can see it. Wow. There we go. And if I may, ladies and gentlemen, show you a little something that happened yesterday. Check this out. See that right there? That's my finger.
Have a great day.
There it is. So you want to see it again?
Have a great day.
There you go. That's me getting my vote on for Harris. And the system to vote in California is incredibly secure, by the way. Nevada's also incredibly secure. In Nevada, you go up, you say your name, they verify your date of birth, your birth year, or your full date of birth. I don't think you have to give your full birthday, but may in Nevada. In California, you just have to give your the year of your birth, and then they print out a physical ballot for you, but it's a blank piece of paper with an identifying QR code type thing up on top of it that says this is a voter that was on this date at this time, aligned with the sign-in that happened at this moment. So they can know that the ballot happened, but not know who you voted for. So you're safe in that regard. So you can still vote anonymously, but it is, that particular ballot is aligned with you showing up on that day and the record of who showed up at that day, not the content of it for that part of it. Then you take your ballot, which is a piece of very expensive paper. It's got a lot of countermeasures in it and all kinds of stuff like that. And it's got that little symbol that says it's you. And then you put it in you go over to the ballot machine, and there's like a big iPad kind of looking thing. And then there's a hearing device on the side if you are hard of hearing and you need any help, and a navigation in case in case the touch screen is hard for you because of any, I guess tactile issues you might have or something like that. You can actually move the cursor and the choice thing using physical arrows in case you need to move those around. Most people just do the touch screen. But what you do is you walk up to it and it says, I'm ready to vote. You tap that, right? And then you feed the piece of paper in, and that registers that this person voting is registered to this piece of paper, which has cues on it that it was received at this second and walked over here. And even the amount of time in the code around this is every aspect of when this happened. Yes, we're live, George. Hi. So You feed that in, then you go through them digitally and you pick who you're going to pick. And then at the end of it, when you're done, you finished all of them, you know, it'll say verify what you're going to do, and it'll print this. And then you go, you check, make sure everything's right. Then you hit print my ballot. And then it does. It takes that same sheet of paper that you were handed by them, and it prints your stuff on only that piece of paper. And again, which has it is tied to your sign-in point, so that they don't, you know what you voted for, but know that it was you that voted. And then you can look at the paper, and it's very clear who you voted for. Instead of like all of them, and it has the one you blacked out, it just says Harris Walls. You voted for president, Harris Walls right there. And all the other stuff you voted for. Then you take that piece of paper and you feed it back. You can do one of two things. You can walk it over to the desk, and they can put it in a paper thing and tabulate it later. Or you can tabulate it yourself, and you put it in the machine, and you go, I'm ready to cast my vote, and you hit it like that, and it takes the piece of paper. It is put into a locked box and tabulates everything on it and says, that's the way I'm voting, that's the way it goes. And so there are 3 steps in that process. Their registration of you by the fact that you're on the rolls in that neighborhood, you're a local doing it, it's not provisional or any of those other things, which is another step entirely. They recognize that you get this piece of paper that is aligned with your vote. You vote anonymously on that piece of paper, but it aligns with the time that that it's legitimized. It goes in, and then you have a digital tally where you cast it, and the paper ballot is stored in case there's a recount. In Nevada, you get a physical, like, credit card like thing. You go over, you tell them the same thing. You give them your name and your birth date, and then they give you a little, like, key card. And you go over that key card, and you put that in, and then you vote. And then after you're done voting, it prints out your ballot. What it does is it makes a printout of it behind a screen. It stops the image from being opaque. You can see through it and see the actual piece of paper. That's what's actually on, written. And then as soon as you say, yep, that's what I want to vote for, the screen goes opaque again, and it is stored. You take the card back out, and you run it back over to them, and you put it in the box. And that is a secondary way of making sure that that card matches that ballot, and they were both cast at the same time, so you have sort of double verification if you have to do a recount. There's all over the fucking place. Hal voted in California, Nevada, and Arizona. So he knows. No, Summer voted in Nevada, and I voted in California because I'm registered in California. She's registered here. So she told me the process that she was going to do. But what had occurred to me when she was telling me this was that I think people would feel a lot better about our elections if somebody walked them through the process so they can see in every town and in every state what the process is. And you'll find, I think, that in blue states especially, there are more provisions for protection of the vote than there are in red states. That it is a lot more slapdash in Texas than it is in California, for example. No, thank you, Howie. Yes, you add one in there. Hal's going to be mayor of LA. Yes, that is true. As soon as Karen Bass is done, I'll be running. Your vote might need more in Nevada. It doesn't matter. I'm not voting twice, and I'm not moving my vote. There we go. There will still be whiny maggots, but that's okay. Now, a couple of things on that front. Let's see if I thought I brought it up. Here it is. Yeah. So one of the big worries is Elon Musk using all of his billions of dollars, and he's basically fixing the vote for Trump, right? That's the big fear. Well, apparently, let's see if I can, let's see. Yes, okay. Check this out. This, how, like, everybody's like, how can you be so confident? Besides, you're always right. But besides your track record, which should be enough, but I get it. All right, I get it. Just because I've been right every time doesn't mean I'll be right all the time. I recognize that. I respect it. That's why I base my beliefs on a myriad of different factors, not the least of which is the fact that Democrats have a lot of money in a big ground game and are getting voters to the polls, and Republicans are not. They're just fucking around waiting to find out. I'm telling you. Now, the other one, too, is look at the Democrats running in the Senate races and how they're tracking so far ahead than what the presidential race is. That's what you call poll jacking. That's Trump paying for poll jacking to try and get himself within, a whisker. So that's the point. And he's telling his own supporters he's way ahead so that when he loses, they can go, but we were way ahead. So we had these things full of bullshit. And by the way, when Trump says in the middle of the night, there was this big wave of bullshit, what he means is the majority of the votes in the country, because his votes were the people who voted on election day in 2020. And then the mail-in votes started counting after that. And Republican states especially, and Republican legislatures made sure that they started counting mail-in votes way later than the other one. So it looked like he'd have this artificial head start, that it looked like he was ahead. And then all of Biden's, the other thing is you could argue an inverse of that from the Democratic side, right? Trump's getting all this bullshit day of vote, and winning all this, and then finally our votes start getting counted, right? And pew, where's it? How did he phrase it?
The numbers should skyrocket downward.
Right, like his vote percentage, the election night. After all the day of voting had been counting. Now, this year, by the way, a lot more Democrats are voting on the day to make a point. A lot fewer Republicans are voting on the day. They're voting early. And those are people who don't like Donald Trump. The Haley voter, the disenfranchised, angry, anti-Trump voter, they're voting early. All the Republicans you see, oh my God, all these Republicans are voting early. Yeah. Against Trump. Like all the exit poll data on those people all points to the fact. I mean, they're posting online, but they're also doing regular exit polling at places if they want to say something, because they got somebody kind of stacked there every day in a bunch of these places, and they're going, yeah, I couldn't wait to vote to get rid of Trump. Fuck this guy. And that's the early Republican vote. The day of Republican vote is still going to be tons of maggots, and they're going to be standing in line, and they're going to be pissed off like a bunch of Kerry Lake voters, going, finding out what it feels like to be a black voter in Georgia when Stacey Abrams was running. Even though they have plenty of working machines and stuff like that. They're just like, there's like 9 people in line in front of me. Shut the fuck up. Oh, sorry. Did the name not change on the show? I updated the restream. Why would that not be? There we go. Oh, why would that? Oh, yeah, sorry. That's the confusion. Did it not? It didn't take. Boink. Here we go. Hold on. Let's see. All right. Sorry about that. That should have apparently they didn't click. All right. Never mind. How about that? Is that better? Let me see if I can reload it and it'll say something. But in this process, there's a lot that goes into, if I may, and I think I can. There's a lot that goes into the perception of the success of a campaign, the perception of whether or not it's going to be successful. And one of the big ones is are you doing a get out the vote? Where's your GoTV? What is it, right? Okay. And Democrats have an enormous, highly functioning, well-supplied get out the vote campaign, getting people to the fucking polls, okay? And they need one. And every time the Republicans set up some new hurdle that makes it hard for Democrats or everybody to vote, because let's be honest, they don't want anybody to vote. Listen to Paul Weyrich, the founder of effectively the Heritage Foundation, and the father of the modern conservative movement. They don't want people to vote. They want an electoral win. That's the only way. That's the only leverage they have. But still, it doesn't work that way. You need the votes, especially with as many swing states as we have. Okay. So here's a report. This is from Wired. And by the way, thanks for becoming a member. That's wonderful. If you're watching right now, it's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. But if you haven't subscribed yet, don't. Wait till after the election. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't take any more subscribers. I have all my subscribers are real, and most of my competitors float on a sea of bots, and they can jack up their numbers. But I insist on. I guess, all right, I'll give you a pat. If you're a real human being, please subscribe. So I can tell the difference between you and a bot. So just saying. But, again, you're the last one. I can't let anybody else in. The line to get in this club is too long already, and I'm going to get a ticket with all the people on the sidewalk. I mean, the internet is full. And it's my fault. And I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. And you don't have to like it. It's just true. All right. Now, Wired did a report on Elon Musk's Get Out the Vote campaign for Trump. And a Trump campaign worker was spoken to about this. And they were fired after trying to blow the whistle on what we know it's a she, called grift and greed by top campaign officials and an alleged bugging plot. This is fun. A bugging plot. They spied on my campaign, so why can't I? The worker, whose identity the beast is withholding, wrote, withhold that identity, beast. Wrote an explosive email after she was fired, detailing her concern about how the campaign's most senior advisors, Chris Lasivita and Susie Wiles, appear to be funneling millions of dollars to companies which she alleges are overcharging Trump. Now, again, I don't feel bad about any of this stuff. So I literally, when I'm reading these details, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. One of them is run by a major donor to Kamala Harris. Again, the reason, because this person, in general, is like the major donor is because it's a successful business person. The reason they hired him is because they're successful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The grift and greed I've witnessed makes me sick. I'm sick of this. It's sickening. And I think leadership has been bad stewards of generous donors' money. Yeah, welcome to Donald Trump's business model. The campaign worker wrote in an email to a former colleague after she was abruptly fired on October 18th, I'm 100% on Team Trump. Still deluded. I want the very best for this campaign, but what I've witnessed is greedy and wrong. Ma'am. Greedy and wrong could be the byline on Trump bumper stickers. They could literally sell their campaign. Trump Vance, greedy and wrong. And people like, greedy and wrong, greedy and wrong. They would start chanting that, it's good to be greedy, it's good to be wrong at events, at his rallies. I don't even call them rallies anymore. I'll show you why in a minute. Even more sensational. The woman also wrote in her email that campaign employees became convinced that leadership had installed a listening device in a cut-out hole to a conference room at the West Palm Beach headquarters to snoop on private conversations by their colleagues. Listening device? No, I think this is straight up Don Jr. reliving his a Porky's fantasy. I'm telling you, a listening device is the least of your worries. These fuckers are friends with Matt Gaetz. Come on. Can we just enjoy that for a moment? Can we just, maybe it was Rudy Giuliani installing another glory hole can we just enjoy the fact that Trump has to spy on his own staff, or thinks he has to, because he doesn't trust anybody, because he's a paranoid sociopath? Again, should I feel threatened with a good time? I feel like I'm being threatened with a good time. It's a private conversation by their colleagues. Sean Dahlman, the campaign's chief financial officer, was so worried he was being snooped on, then he and others searched the conference room in an attempt to find the surveillance device and block its ability to intercept his conversations. Was he wearing a tinfoil hat? Was he what? Did he sound? Was he talking around like walking around talking in a Gary Busey voice? Going, hey, I think there's like, you guys don't see the bugs? I totally see the bugs. I think they're listening to me, man. I think that fly's got an antenna on his head that goes to some kind of mothership. Yeah. All right, here you go. So Dahlman has alluded to the fact that he can't say things for fear of retaliation. What? That they're not, that the ROI on donor money is shit? That's the point, dumbass. There are napkins stuffed in all the gaps in the conference room now. It seems like they're willing to go to extremes. This is nothing more than fanciful lies and fabrications. This is the response from the senior campaign official. Of course, they're going to deny it. The campaign worker, whose requested she not be publicly identified, has been responsible for placing Trump's official campaign ads on platforms such as YouTube and Meta's Facebook and Instagram. She worked in campaign headquarters for months and was not employed directly by the campaign. Instead, she worked for Launchpad Strategies, an in-house ad firm founded and owned by Dahlman, who she claimed in the email had fired her at Wiles' direction. In text messages, blah, blah, blah. Launchpad made the decision to terminate her for spreading rumors about clients and repeatedly showing poor judgment. And if you don't believe it, they have it on tape. I'm just kidding. Right. How'd you guys click? The woman in her email does not spell out what she meant by grift and greed, but sources told Daily Beast that the woman had raised concern for months with Dahlman and others about money as they were spending. But the issue burst into the spotlight when Daily Beast revealed how Lasivita's consulting firm, headquartered in his Virginia home, that's a red flag. Let me tell you something, kids. I don't have theatrical representation. I haven't had it since my agency was swallowed by a bigger one, and I didn't want to be part of that bigger one. Because why? Like all the people that I worked with had scattered, so till they land somewhere, I'm not in a hurry. And I had a tacit relationship with a manager during that part, yeah. At the same, like the last 3 years I was with them. And they didn't do a ton, but they had an office, an actual business office with a management firm. And I've had multiple managers over the years, especially back in the day before I broke, where they ran their management out of their house. Never sign with a manager, kids, who has an office in their home. Remote working is one thing, but if they can't afford to float an office, get the hell out. And this is Lasavitas. Is that his name? That's how they're pronouncing his name. Okay. Lasivita. So this is bad though. If you're running a PR firm out of your Virginia home, had already collected $22 million from the campaign and 2 Trump super PACs since 2022. Campaign worker who was fired 3 days after the Lasivita story broke was not the source of the Daily Beast exclusive reporting, and when contacted last week, declined comment for this story. The other part is that's Dahlman. He looks like a happy soul. He doesn't look at all like the kind of Matt Walsh incel brigade. The woman and ad buyer prepared detailed charts under the title How the Campaign is Being Overcharged by Political Operatives. One of the charts lists payments to strategic media services, describing his firm chosen by Chris, Susie, and political operatives in D.C. It then lists invoices appearing to show that strategic media was charging 32% higher fees on commissions than Launchpad was charging. As for Zeta Global, which is also chosen by Chris and Susie, the whistleblowers chart shows it charged the company $20 million for placing media ads. When are we going to find out that Zeta Global and strategic media are actually owned by Trump? And that's why they don't give a fuck. He's just using this to funnel money back to himself. Let's see. The whistleblower also noted that David Steinberg, CEO of Zeta Global, was a significant Democratic donor to Harris' campaign. And where's the part? Okay, so they get fired and all that stuff. And Wiles says, you're a talented young woman, wonderful, important qualities. You have great work ethic. You're creative. You have expertise in your field that is impressive. That's until she spilled the beans, and then they went out. Okay, the same issue that is one that they are having, chat room, with Elon Musk's group in Pennsylvania, which is so far turned up fuck all in terms of voter turnout, even with him handing out $1 million in these little fucking raffles he's doing. That's what I'm talking about. Trump is too busy stealing from his own supporters to actually have a campaign.